over by the Krugs. So we'll see if this actually gives the information that Lyra needs to try to punish on the bot side. And he's actually looking for a gank, and their ward has just expired here for SKT.
There's the knock-up onto Teddy. The body slam comes out from Effort. The feathers fly forward, and nothing further follows up.
And this is what we wanted to see. Notice that Cody-san and Vulcan didn't hard push. They actually let Teddy and Effort get the push in. They arrived late because they were helping Lyra start off on his red, which means that they were overextended in the lane. Jungler was topside, but now Lyra, he's overstayed in the river.
He has indeed. Flash is available. Arctic Assault 2 and very easy to escape. It'll just be the Rift Scuttler picked up for SKT.
This is honestly just a beautiful early game here from SKT. They're able to avoid the gank. You can see it's now going to be a 3 buff here for them. They've also grabbed this bottom side scuttle to protect their bottom lane that was pushing and playing somewhat aggressively now that their ward has expired. And we're going to have Lyra walk all the way across to the other side of the map, which is going to kind of put them behind the clock a little bit, so to speak, and not really have any options as far as ganking on that top side.
I do like that he went straight to the Krugs, though, because it does guarantee at least one of them so that he doesn't end up losing both. But in terms of Klid's pathing, he's feeling very comfortable right now. He's sitting at level 3, likely going to be getting level 4 very soon. He can make his way back up towards topside, and as Isaiah was saying in the draft, the potential for a Vlad dive is very real. A wave is going to start stacking up towards the top side of the map, and Klid can put himself in a position to be there ready to attack Huni.
Well, I just want to call out, Vedius, you did say that you were hoping to see Lyra play bot. He did. One thing I noticed a moment or two ago as well, Huni's running the Klepto Vlad, so learning a little bit from the Nuggery school of Vladimir. And now Klid, he's decided to come to this bottom lane. That's a fantastic body slam. Flash and heal used from Cody-san. And Klid's just going to ward hop away to safety.
Here comes Lyra, though, and Klid may be able to get collapsed on by Vulcan.
All right, there's the knock-up. Not going to land, actually, because Klid is able to flash away.
Honestly, all things happening there, that's going to be positive for Clutch. That's 3 summoners to 2. It's just, can you punish Cody-san for missing his? Teddy now could be in some trouble.
Could be indeed. The Arctic Assault has come in already. Now the dashes are going forward. Lyra's been exhausted. He's forced to flash. That's a very good Feather Storm. Or Feathers coming back. Well, the Faker! He completed the teleport and flies forward. I was completely lost in the fight and it's not done yet. A level 5 Huni. He's come in. Vulcan takes some shurikens to the face and he's running for his life. Huni is blown up. Donating another kill to SK Telecom, and they're 1,000 gold up.
That was a horrible teleport. It was so late. He's not even 6. What are you going to accomplish with that? And now not only does Huni do another kill on that bottom side, he's kind of going to throw his own lane.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's called Faker Playmaker for a reason. Beautiful teleport down into the bot lane the moment Clutch arrive. Notice that they've caught Teddy out of position. He's a little overextended. Jungler isn't here to help. But now 3 members are over the halfway mark in this lane, meaning there's plenty of time for him to TP in. Lyra holds onto his flash for a little while. Faker's able to land the E, and then he lands the passive auto, flashes away from the knockup from the Rakan, and gets away with his life on top of a kill. And then you see this very late TP in from Huni where I don't think he was ever going to get anything off the back of that.
It's almost like one of those comedy videos where it's like your laner versus my laner, you know, like your laner TPs, my laner TPs.
And where it leaves us is 1,000 gold advantage to SKT. Teddy and Effort have had a lot of action in their lane already. Both of them 0-0-2. And at least as far as the combining the engages and the tools, definitely look very comfortable on this duo, despite it being Teddy's first ever Yasuo.
Now, what's important to recognize is what this means. Because remember, we talked about how SKT have very strong laners. And in the bot lane, especially once they hit level 6, the all-in power of Gragas and Yasuo is very potent. So CG can't afford to fall behind in the early game. And due to this overforce in the bot side of the map and Faker finding 2 kills, it's now a lot harder for CG to control the early game, which means SKT is in a power position to start snowballing with this lead that they have.
I agree, and it's also really difficult now for Damonte because so much of your early game power with this lethality buy is negated by the Seekers, right? You know, all this additional gold is funneled into Faker there, and he is kind of now ahead of the curve, can grab this luxury item of the Seekers, and now go straight towards that Gunblade, and it should still be quite a good timing.
Now, it's not all doom and gloom for Clutch Gaming, of course. There are scaling elements to their composition. I feel that even though Damonte is playing a champion that is AD, her team fight value in the mid to late game is just can never afford to be underestimated, and you can still one-shot a lot of squishy targets if you're able to catch them off guard. So Clutch Gaming still have that team fight avenue available to them. It's just that due to the lead that SKT currently has, it may be harder and more delayed before Clutch can get to that point.
Yeah, Huni also sitting even on farm despite actually TPing away from his lane is pretty nice. But here comes Clid, and he is 6, looking for a kill on bot side.
Oh, very nicely done. Cody-san gets caught out, takes some damage before the Featherstorm buys some time. Just not enough DPS. If you look at itemization, needs a little bit more build up there before they can blow him up.
Yeah, and that was really just a nice wind wall as Huni maybe getting jumped on.
All right, Huni's in trouble. World Ender is easily enough for Khan to pick up the solo kill. I mean, he just hit everything. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, Huni had to flash the 3rd Q, right? You know, he flashed after that it already landed, so the damage was there. Expends the flash, but it is too late, and he does go down. And, you know, bad goes to worse as SKT grabs the Infernal. And this is a 5-person damage comp essentially here, right? You know, even the Gragas is going to be building AP. Every single member of SKT will get a lot out of that Infernal.
I mean, I believe there was an interview with Khan that said that he wanted to remind Huni of his place and kick his teeth in, and definitely not a great start to the laning phase as Huni, he's just trying to use
Khan, this is a fantastic start.
I mean, yeah. And I just think that Huni should have just flashed earlier. He should have flashed the moment he recognized that he could not get out of the E landing from Khan. Just no respect being shown to his lane opposition.
Yeah, watching that back again, the timing was actually so tight on hitting that 3rd Q out of the pool, so Huni may have actually judged that the 3rd Q would go into the pool instead of actually landing perfectly out of it. So really well timed there by Khan, and credit to him for getting an advantage on that top side.
Well, read into this what you will, viewers at home, but Huni actually has a pretty successful record on the international stage, despite just getting solo killed. We're playing with Fnatic 11-11, SKT 25-11, Clutch Gaming so far 6-4. But he really is kind of the difference maker, the danger man when you look at Clutch and whether they're going to win or lose.
And he has been for a lot of his teams, right? And I think it's so cool to see this guy who has succeeded in 3 major regions, made it to Worlds on teams that were oftentimes about his crazy playstyles. And that is why I think he has become such a fan favorite and such a fun player to watch.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And right now, he's being relegated towards the bot side of the map. He doesn't have his teleport, but it will be available soon. Given that it's 10 minutes, Clutch have decided to go for the swap, try and get out of this 2 versus 2, but also set up for the Herald. And I think that once they complete their first item, they could consider going for a fight. Because oh, bit of a skirmish in mid. But because Faker has delayed his Gunblade, it means that Akali, even with the gold lead, is not going to be as potent without that item. So I can see a window where Clutch could consider going for a fight this early on to try and reclaim control.
Yeah, and they may actually look for it with Huni roaming up, because if he doesn't actually walk all the way up, they can't even challenge, right? Khan has TP advantage still. Huni not quite having his teleport. So Huni is just running up to mid lane and trying to be there as they are starting this out to look for a potential 5v5. And this could be something that really does decide a lot of this game.
Watch Demonte. He's waiting in the wings. Teleport is now coming down from Khan. Supreme display of talent goes out. Riptail's not dead just yet.
Here's Khan!
It's on the board, but it's a trade of 1-for-1. The Featherstorm goes out with the Blade Caller, cannot get called back. Lyra forced to flash defensively. Faker runs him down with the help of Khan. And Huni finds himself dead once again to SKT's top laner. The Riptail still not yet completed. Lee Syndrome, please! Clid's not going to pull the trigger this time round. Demonte steps forward and cannot secure the kill. SKT were ready, waiting, and looking to get the delayed ace here. Demonte's at risk of being dove. And it's just a matter of time. You have to feel. Khan 3-0-1, by the way. Shelly's going to be summoned behind the Tribush. And now a teleport's coming down too. Huni's rejoined the fight. And SKT,
they're not going to dive this, are they?
No, unfortunately not.
No, they should not dive this quick shot. That would be a very silly decision. But SKT just completely outplayed CG in that fight. A very clutch stopwatch from Effort to avoid the initial engage from Demonte. The fact that Clutch Gaming end up getting split apart, you just get to see the team fighting prowess of SKT.
Yeah, and this ward over the wall was so critical. The TP is in such a perfect place. Right as they're engaging, you're now going to be having this very strong Aatrox coming in behind the squad, and all of a sudden, there's no safe spot for Cody-san to kite back to, because he was planning on kiting back into that area, utilizing the feathers in the AoE, and it just got completely shut down.
And you can see that Huni wasn't even relevant in the fight whatsoever. He got cut off while SKT was setting up this great collapse, and SKT, they were ready for the fight, they recognize it, and now they're just ballooning their lead even more.
And we're just going to go again because Clutch, I don't know if they feel like they can give up another Infernal here. SKT already an enormous advantage, and if you give over a second free Infernal to them, it feels like your chances are really getting dim.
3,500 gold lead for SKT already. 2 Infernals. This one will be uncontested. And if you'll notice the scoreboard, everybody watching at home, the 2 solo laners, Khan and Faker, 3-0-1, 4-0-1 respectively. Faker's already looking, can he get the solo kill? Perfect execution was on cooldown. You have to think if that was available, that'd be another dead Huni.
Well, Faker with his Gunblade now completed is like, yeah, okay, I'm pretty strong now, 13.5 minutes into the game. He can solo kill anyone that he wants. Khan in a very similar position, yet to complete the Black Cleaver, but still feeling very strong. And they're just taking advantage of their massive solo lane leads to just funnel even more gold into them.
And look at the lack of vision here. You know, Clutch has no vision across this line, and that's why Damonte is not even feeling comfortable to actually farm out the wave. He was having to back off, seed these turret plates, because he didn't know if Clid was behind him, and he certainly is now.
Yes, he is. Damonte is just blown up under the tower. Now the Supreme Display of Talent gets Khan low, but not enough to find the kill. And now all of a sudden effort comes down. Faker's looking for the kill. He's got the ultimate available. Hemo Blake will be healing up Huni. Faker's looking at the tower. Takes another shot to the face. Huni stays alive a few seconds longer, and Faker's holding on to his ultimates.
Faker putting a lot of pressure down onto Huni, is looking to secure his first tower of the game. 6k gold lead for SKT. They have just so cleanly controlled this early game. They have outplayed CG multiple points, and while Clutch have found a single kill on the board, right now it feels like that the game is slowly slipping away from them.
I mean, this one feels like it's all over but the crying to me. Like this is so difficult for them to ever come back. You know, Faker being multiple levels ahead of both of the solo laners. Actually, Khan is as well. It's both 11 on SKT side to both 9 on Clutch's side, and they're just so monstrously behind. No one can answer either side, so you just become, you know, stuck in this problem where you have to send multiple members to either one, and you're never going to have the appropriate lane assignments to actually answer SKT.
And Clutch are kind of hoping for a miracle at this point. We talk often a lot about how they do have team fighting elements, but we're kind of clutching at straws because you can see, yeah. This kind of summarizes my point pretty much entirely, which is that
Exhibit A.
Yeah, it's all well and good saying like, oh, we have the scaling. It's completely irrelevant if you don't get to that point in the game, as Faker's just continuing to snowball his lead across the map.
Don't worry, guys. We only need to hold on for 45 more minutes. I'm going to get there.
I'd like to hear some celebration music to that Akali animation, which is leading the blades above her head. It also felt a little personal, of course. Faker going after Huni, former teammates, taking him out under the tower. 5-0-1. Oh, this is just painful, observers.
He already is at 50% health. He overextends in the lane. Faker, with his ultimate and Q, uses the flash as well. Okay, so at first I was like, is it really personal? The fact that he would flash for that kill suggests, yeah, that one felt kind of personal.
Tough game thus far for Huni, but honestly a tough game really for all of Clutch, right? You know, Damonte going for this relatively cheap build. He doesn't even have his first item yet. You know, he's sitting on 4,800 gold. Faker's over 8,000.
Unreal. Talking about gold lead, at 15 minutes, SKT were up 5,961. It is the largest gold difference at 15 minutes of the group stage thus far.
Wow.
An extremely dominant early game. Just before we were going on camera, one of the things we were talking about was the mid game from SK Telecom and how they're not like your G2s, for example, that really just accelerate. What would you like to see from SKT in playing out this gigantic gold lead, and what would you expect from them?
Well, I think that with the comp that they have, sieging is difficult. Azael brought it up in the draft when you don't have an AD carry, sieging down these towers naturally becomes a lot harder, especially given that there is decent wave clear on the side of Clutch. So what SKT need to do is do exactly what they are doing, play on multiple lanes, split the map up, but then what you need to do is you actually need to push your vision line into the enemy jungle so that Clutch cannot enter there. This then gives you the freedom to move between your side lanes, and you can create numbers advantages to threaten dives. And you use your greater numbers and gold lead in order to force the enemy away from the towers so that you can secure it.
They're also getting the benefit of 3 straight Infernals, right? if this is something that Clutch feels like they may have to challenge, well, then SKT doesn't have to do a lot of work to actually get a team fight. And I think if you grab the third Infernal here, which SKT is certainly going to set up for, then they can also look towards the Baron thereafter, set up their vision in that area, as you're talking about, Vedius, and you have fantastic engage in turn with the Gragas and the Lee Sin.
I'm looking at this Clutch composition right now as they are completing a couple of items. Faker happens to stumble upon Vulcan.
I think Vulcan's in a lot of trouble. Damonte is going to look for some damage. We'll find a small route into Faker. Now Huni not going to be able to flash over the wall, and Faker instead dashes away to safety. Decides against a 1-on-3. Still think he could have won it, but he manages to escape for now, and just so much burst damage.
So notice how in that time Khan has pushed out bot lane, and look at what Effort is doing. Setting up vision in the enemy jungle. This is really important when you're trying to play through these side lanes because again, it gives you access to easily move between the lanes. What we now want to see them do is collapse onto mid to set up the siege, or maybe just look for a pick.
While there's collapses everywhere, Damonte forced to flash. Here comes Cleared over the wall, kicks him into the space. And that was an easy final breath from Teddy.
Into space?
Yeah, I know.
That was a hard kick coming out from Cleared.
Absolutely was, and it was the 10th
Hasn't been
kill
skipping leg day.
for SKT. Hemoplague will heal up Huni, but it won't keep him alive long enough. Faker just chases him down for his 6th kill of the game. The mid lane tower's in trouble. Teddy's gonna dash away, throws up the wind wall, teleport being channeled, and that's the 4th tower. Vedius, you called it. Force Clutch away from the towers. Look for picks. Whether it's the tower or the jungle, irrelevant.
The thing is, though, is Clutch is walking into areas of the map that
Yep.
don't belong to them, which means that SKT can quickly find these
What
collapses.
does belong to them? That's their red
base.
buff.
Yeah.
The Nexus, maybe?
Yeah, about that. But what in the meantime, Khan took bot tower, they found a tower in mid, and this is how SKT do it. It's not about overforcing, it's just whenever you see someone in that position that they shouldn't be in, you're able to find that collapse, find that pick, and you immediately convert it into an objective.
These games are just so easy to close out because you need too many members to answer every side, right?
Yes.
You know, you said it's a 1v3 that Faker is kind of pushing them back, then Khan comes on the other side, you have to run down to there. Now all of a sudden there's no one to answer Faker and he's pushing in. You're out-leveled in really every role. Teddy is higher level than the solo laners really on Clutch right now.
And to make it worse, Yasuo and Aatrox can duo Baron. They have the ability to. Probably not yet. It depends. Once he completes his Infinity Edge, this duo is very prominent just because of how much damage and consistent damage that the Yasuo is able to output. So it's something that CG also have to
Do
respect.
they kill Faker, yes or no, Vedius?
No.
Okay, let's see what he does. 3-on-1, 4-on-1 as Cody's Sun comes down. The quickness is used already. Faker's got flash available. He dashes. He doesn't even use the flash. And Vedius, you are a god. You called it. Faker escapes. And SK Telecom, they start the Baron. That was Faker doing Faker things.
Yeah, they're going to grab the Baron, and I think they can close with this. They are monstrously ahead. Faker not even close to going down. He still had the Zonias, still had the flash, and Huni is in trouble.
He is indeed. He's going to use the W to stay alive for a while longer. Gets away from the barrel at least, and the Hemoplague does literally nothing useful. 11,000 gold lead, triple Infernals, Baron, 4 towers to 0. And Faker and Khan are just styling on kids.
And while that was a very cool play from Faker, it's really important to give credit to the rest of SKT because of how they're constantly setting up the map. They have great vision control around areas where they know they have greater numbers, which means that even if 4 members didn't go bot for CG, they can't answer the Baron because of how much control SKT have. So the moment they see where Clutch is, they get to make a decision, they get to punish them, and now they sit with an 11k gold advantage, 3 Infernal Drakes, and a Baron buff.
Faker's going to be pushing on that bottom side here. No one even close to answering. All Clutch can do is just try to do these 3v1, 4v1 style plays, kill someone immediately, and hope that you can actually delay that way. But Faker now at the base. Teddy's here as well, pushing up mid lane. So SKT going to be knocking down turrets on all sides. Clutch just don't have the pieces to answer.
No, they don't. And even if they were to pick a fight, they're so far behind in every single metric. You need SKT to make mistakes that Clutch can punish. And the item disparity alone gives SK Telecom this margin of error that even if they play frivolously, even if they play carelessly, they can miss crucial abilities but still just outstat their opponents.
Yeah, at a certain point, you're just smacking them with your wallet, right? There's
Yeah,
no
it's
real way.
what it is, yeah.
And in North America, we know a lot about this. It's a TL approach.
Oh man, all right, the tower goes down in the mid lane. Effort is forced to flash to safety. He almost goes up, but how much has been expended? Teleport is now completed. Not gonna find a knockup for SK Telecom. They look to siege the base. The inhibitor was broken in the bottom lane. Sorry, that was really good, Azael. And then it's gonna continue the pressure top. You can see Clid is ushered the minion wave forward, and he's taking the inner turret as well.
So SKT, oh, they're finding another pick.
They are indeed. Huni's going to buy some time. Wind wall goes up. That'll block any follow-up. The tower's going to put some damage onto Teddy, but not enough to do more. And now Khan, he's standing toe-to-toe, daring Clutch to fight him.
So SKT's clean game was ruined by Effort getting picked off in the mid lane. Of course, they do trade it for a bot inhib. They still have the Baron left, but I think that they need to reset on the map before they look to push any further. So we're likely going to see SKT backing off and then start playing through both top and mid. They know that with the gold advantage that they have and that CG need literally 5 members just to kill a support, that as Azael said, they can pretty much just walk their wallet down the mid lane.
I mean, SKT were 2 kills away from a perfect game. They were just in such a good position. But it is beautiful to watch when a team is that far ahead and you see, you know, they punish one pathing decision in the jungle a few minutes ago. It leads to Baron. Baron hasn't even worn off yet. They've broken open the base. They've extended that lead even further. And SKT are just moments away from going undefeated in the first half of group.
The reason why I love watching it is because I think it just showcases how good SKT are at a lot of just the core basics of high-level League, which is just controlling areas of the map and responding to where the enemy is on the map. When you try to enter an area that doesn't belong to you, how easy it is for you to get punished. And it feels like that Clutch Gaming have not really been punished like this. And when they try to walk into areas of fog, when they don't expect players to be there, then all of a sudden SKT pounce, they find a pick, and they quickly convert it into something more.
SKT really are brilliant at that, and while this is not a slow game by any means, we're not even 25 minutes in, you're still seeing some of the differences between teams like SKT and G2, right? G2, with this sort of lead, is going to group 5 and dive you.
You were saying?
Exhibit B.
Exhibit B. I don't get a chance to say anything because Faker kills people too quickly. And I know I am going to take us off screen just for a second. Well, maybe after this fight, actually. SKT going to move into the base. Faker's coming over the wall. No ultimate available. That's the only benefit I can think of right now. As now Teddy continues to push forward. I'm waiting for an Effort ulti into a Teddy ulti. Come on, do it.
Let's see, SKT, they want to go tutorial style. They have taken down 2 inhibitors. There's 1 left to take. Faker's going to go grab the wave, but to echo Azael's point, SKT feel a lot more controlled in their aggression. It feels like that it's not as chaotic as when you watch teams like G2 in their approach.
Oh, man.
Their solo laners just like to style on people, quick shot.
Absolutely the case. Effort and Teddy finally make the combination work. It just finds a single kill, and SK Telecom obliterate, decimate, dominate, obliterate and destroy Clutch Gaming. I ran out of words before moving towards expletives. SKT go undefeated in the first half of groups and make a statement with a 5 damage comp. Yasuo Gragas bottom lane, first time ever for Teddy, and it is going to make people question, do you run the risk of giving it to them again?
It's a tough choice because the game wasn't about the bot lane, but they certainly also didn't make any big mistakes, right? You know, there was nothing huge or glaring that you're saying, oh, well, Teddy messed up here or they messed up there. But this was about Faker, this was about Khan, and this really was absolute obliteration of Clutch.
And we talked a lot in draft about what we needed to see happen for Clutch, and unfortunately they just could not make it work. SKT did a fantastic job of punishing them, and for me, that was a large part of what we saw. It was constant punish. Every small mistake that Clutch made, SKT converted it into a very big deficit, and you really felt the pressure that SKT can put on you.
Just saw Huni on your screen a moment or two ago, coming up against his former team, Faker, putting on an amazing performance, but honestly though, in every game he has played, he has looked to that level. You know, he's shaken off a lot of the rust. and just really stepping up on the stage. I really personally liked some of the dives onto Huni after Khan's interview, saying he wanted to put Huni back in his place, and I definitely think the LCQ fans are going to be happy about that.
I think really the only Faker game you can criticize whatsoever was some of the TF plays, but it's Tristana as well as the Akali were immaculate, and even in the TF game, he was great in the later stages.
I am terrified of SK Telecom. They had a dominant win. Let's send it to State Farm analyst there to talk about how they did it.
Thank you very much, Trevor, and I have to agree with you there. So what I'd like to do in this segment, seeing how unfortunately Clutch wasn't really given a chance at all, is focus a conversation around SKT as the tournament hopeful. So I'm going to start with the obvious. The Oppo player of the game was Faker. This guy was an absolute demon in this game.
To no one's surprise, Faker stepping up. But if you watch the LCK, you might be surprised to see just the consistency and the laning phase domination paying forward that wasn't always there in the regular season. Playoffs, yes. Recency, yes. Whatever happened between week 9 and the playoffs, it's working for Faker because he's looking damn suave in the mid lane.
Yeah, he's absolutely styling in this game.
He's rendering you speechless, Kobe.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. That's exactly what just happened to Clutch this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that Clutch did look for their moments in the game. They did try to fight their way back in. But this is an SKT lineup that knew what play was happening. They had the prior knowledge. They were able to get multiple members into the play from different angles and were able to take over and ultimately shut down exactly what Clutch was trying to get done.
And Spawn, very plainly, you were kind of, when we were sitting there with tournament favorites, SKT and G2, you made it clear that your allegiance was to G2 based on what we've seen. We get an extra data point, and to me, this is the most one-sided game so far of the main stage by far. Like they were, Clutch Gaming were just not in it at any moment.
That's
Therefore,
a leading question.
are we moving our positions, or is it just one data point?
Yeah, that's interesting, right? Because Cloud9 is much better than Clutch, and G2 smashed Cloud9 in a very similar fashion. And I always say it's hard to tell how a team closes out, right? Because you're always going to have messier games if you're G2 because they take more risks. And Cloud9...
0-4, 0-3 topside risks, though?
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing, right? Is if you can win a game in arguably quicker game time, I don't have the exact number, while 2 members of your team are literally playing for the opponent,
true.
That's impressive to me.
I mean, that's fair, but I do want to take that question of the Papa Smithy into account in the discussion we're going to have, because we always highlight Faker in these moments. He's great. Yeah, what else? But the entirety of that team, and that was a difference from that G2 game yesterday, was absolutely on point. Khan had outplays, Klid had outplays, the bot lane had outplays, and that is what renders me very scared of this SKT, as Trevor put it.
And then we had the personal rivalry in the top side of Khan and Huni, who both talked 2017 SKT versus 2019 SKT top laner. And, well, the Aatrox side of the Vlad matchup's working out.
Yeah, in all honesty, I mean, SKT did everything they can this game to answer the critics, right? They went with a new composition that we hadn't necessarily seen. They did run a very early game and skirmish-heavy comp, and they're normally the machine, the powerhouse that likes to have their members together. This was a different kind of SKT, and, I mean, they played a near-flawless game.
They just look so clean. I want to highlight some of the timings that we saw, especially in the Khan solo kills, you know, flashing over Kiana ultimate, his 3rd Q right out of the Vlad pool. There's so many things that were so crisp that they really do deserve those accolades.
That gold difference timeline looks like a Vlad pool. It wasn't too good for Huni, but I want to talk about the picks and bans and kind of the different faces we've seen from SKT throughout this tournament so far. Have they diversified their play styles coming into this World Championship?
I think that it's very interesting to look at the team as a whole, because when they stacked a roster, they still had to find themselves, find your voice when you put 5 players together. And they've kind of gone through phases of being an early game team, for being a late game team, trying to be a bit of both, straddle the line and be in the mid game. They've tried to vary things up, and we've seen already just in a 3-game sample size, an encapsulation of their entire year. They're showing new stuff like the Tristana on day 1. And then in this game, you know, going for a different look, no ranged AD carry, Teddy showing a different side. And yet, this was the cleanest so far.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, absolutely they have, because Faker's 2 most played champions were Azir and Nico, and they're all about control and being with your team. He's now played Tristana as well as a Twisted Fate, and now a mid lane assassin in the Akali. That's all about side laning, so I think this is a very different look coming out of them.
I mean, honestly, on day 1, I was incredibly incredibly impressed because SK Telecom came into that one with such a new look. They have put so much work into the preparation with all these different styles. The KO bottom lane even.
It looks so impressive, and when Trevor and I say scared, that's of course with our LEC glasses on, but I think just as much, I am excited to see an SKT that is in form with Faker. It is such a perfect thing to see on the world stage, to think about the ceiling that they can hit.
And we saw the stats up there, the most notable ones, no neutrals at all, not even a turret coming the way of Clutch Gaming. And you're struck by the fact that this feels like one of those strangle out performances of SKT's past, and yet it was updated with new picks, a new look. It still passed the eye test. The timer didn't read 34, it read 26. It's almost like they've updated the old, and it's looking good. I was thinking of a lot of food analogies to describe how good SKT played.
I mean, they got outskilled across the map. When you have that big of a difference getting solo killed, both sides at the same time, and 3 Infernal Drakes, it's going to be clean.
Yeah, it was really, really clean. Now, looking at the group, of course, we have RNG, SKT, Clutch Gaming, and Fnatic. Didn't look good for Clutch off that, but then Fnatic looked better, but also not so good versus RNG. It's looking like this is taking quite a definitive course, Papa.
It's been a while since we've had a 6-0 team in groups. Thinking back to Longzhou a couple of years ago. Do you want to play them first next time out or last when they might have already been qualified is an interesting thing to think about, because SKT are sticklers for the details, and I'm sure they want to win all their games.
Yeah,
I do think there were windows, however, when RNG had avenues to win that game. So
Agreed.
I wouldn't be writing off a 6-0 group just yet. I think that RNG certainly gave them a good crack.
All right, we will see RNG and Fnatic face off in our first game earlier, and here you will see them through the lens of the Oppo phone camera, designed to make sure you won't miss a single moment of Worlds 2019. However, the fans are also super interesting, and we're taking a look at them making their signs. There's more to come here on day 4. After the break, Fun Plus Phoenix face off against GAM Esports.
Now the dashes are going forward. Lero's been exhausted. He's forced to flash. That's a very good Feather Storm. Or Feather's coming back. Rather Faker! His teleport is now coming down from Khan. Supreme display of talent goes out. Riptail's not dead just yet.
Here's Khan!
It's on the board, but it's a trade of 1-for-1.
We're kind of clutching at straws because you can see, yeah, this kind of summarizes my point.
Like SKT and G2, right? G2, with this sort of lead, is going to group 5 and dive you.
It's not as chaotic as when you watch teams like G2 in their approach.
Oh, man.
Their solo laners just like to style on people, quick shot.
Absolutely the case. Effort and Teddy finally make their combination work. SKT go undefeated in the first half of groups.
The new Oppo Reno 2 quad camera. Zoom into imagination.
I ain't never felt nothing like this before. No. Girl, every second I'm with you, I wish for more. Yeah, and I don't even know you. Hope you let me. Got so much to show you. If you let me, girl, you flowing through me. So electric. Yeah, I'm wishing that right now won't ever stop. You got me falling in love, my darling. But I ain't seen you before. Will you be there for me when I'm calling you? Is it you? much to show you if you let me. 'Cause girl, you're running through me, so electric. Yeah, I'm wishing that right now won't ever stop. Oh, you got me falling in love, my darling, but I ain't seen you before. Will you be there for me when I'm calling you? Is it you? You got me falling in love, my darling, but I ain't seen you before. Will you be there for me when I'm calling you? Is it you? I'm calling you. I'm calling you. I'm calling you. I'm calling you. Darling.
哦，接下来我们要跟 JM 交手了嘛，然后我觉得这一场是非常重要，因为如果这场赢了的话，我觉得我们后面也可以调整心态，调整回来，然后可以那个全胜。后面还有4场嘛，如果这把输了的话，可能会影响这其他选手的心态。
Hello, welcome back. DoinB and FPX took the LPL by storm in 2019. It's been a bumpy start to their 2019 World Championship run. And just as a very quick update, we have received updated information as how to correctly pronounce DoinB. His nickname is how we used to say it. It is DoinB. So we'll be referencing it that way going forward. Let's talk about what DoinB was talking about. Getting back on track, picking up a win against GAM after losing the first game to J-Team and potentially what should have been a loss to Splice.
Yeah, I think it's very important for them to kind of continue forward and build this confidence, right? Because this is a very young team. These guys really haven't had a lot of international experience whatsoever. So I think the confidence is such a big thing going forward. And even their win against Splice, it's not like it was dominant by any means, right? It was dependent upon somewhat of a Baron throw from Splice. So we're still really looking for a dominant game from what was supposed to be a title contender.
For me, FPX, SKT, and G2 were favorites for the tournament coming in, and FPX have been the most disappointing of the three. This was supposed to be the group of life for them. This wasn't supposed to be competitive at all. Everybody's expectations were that they would just clean sweep through this group and no one be able to challenge them, and then on day one, as we said, they lost, and then yesterday, to the much dismay of so many EU fans, they were just barely able to come back in that game, and it was great to hear from DoinB